You're watching Morning Live. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. We're broadcasting live from the Jacini local municipality. It sits in the KwaZulu-Natal district. And as I started off by saying this morning, it's about 2.5 hours outside of Richards Bay. And they're experiencing their worst drought since 1982. Right now, I'm joined by the DG in the Premier's office, Mr. Frikkie Brooks. Sir, thank you very much for joining me. Maybe let's start off by asking the question, what is the current drought situation in this part of KZN?
Thank you, Sam. Thanks very much, and morning to all the viewers as well. Firstly, the drought situation in KwaZulu-Natal, as you already stated, the worst that we've seen since 1982. A really severe drought. In this part where we are today, KwaZulu-Natal district, we've prioritized this area because it's one of the areas that is worst hit by the drought itself. This and the Zululand district. But throughout, we've actually got a disaster declaration out for all 10 of the districts within KwaZulu-Natal. What we're doing today is then to bring the whole provincial executive council, our provincial cabinet here today, the Premier, all 10 MECs, to come and inspect the interventions that have started already. So this is not kicking it off. It's really just coming to check on the ground itself as to whether the measures that we've put in place to address the drought issues are starting to affect the people's lives. Because as we know, this is not just affecting our communities' lives out there. That's obviously the first priority for us, to ensure that there's water for human consumption. But it affects the agriculture in this area. This particular area of KwaZulu-Natal is highly dependent on agriculture. Food security issues become a real big issue for us. But then in addition to the agricultural side of it is also then to ensure that conservation and the wildlife is also taken care of. This KwaZulu-Natal area is one of the areas that houses our World Heritage Site, Ismangolisi World Heritage Site itself. So we're concerned about all three aspects of it, human and then the economic impact of that in the area. And that's what our provincial cabinet is here today to come and see how it works and what else is there that we need to do to ensure that we help wherever we can.
Let me quickly talk about just the current situation. We know that when resources become scarce, the entire environment becomes tense. There's also an opportunistic element that feeds off these kind of crises. How do we make sure that there's checks and balances, and what is the current situation here? Because there are reports of skirmishes, clashes between different people, and it's about this resource. Very quickly. Yeah,
no, thank you, Sam. I think that's natural to happen, is that whenever in times of scarcity, you would find tensions mounting. We are fortunate that our Department of Water and Sanitation nationally has supported the province with a disaster grant for the province of 352 million, which we are implementing at the moment, obviously distributed throughout the province. The big issue is then to ensure that the money goes into the priority areas and that we are able to help immediately. Now, we've focused so far really on, number one, ensuring that there's bulk water. Here behind us now, the lovely Jacini Dam, at least in this particular area, there's a water source. But you would move 10 kilometers from here and you would not have this water available. So there it is to look at the boreholes. But with the prolonged drought, we've had the water table also dropping substantially. So a number of the boreholes that existed previously in the area are no longer functional. So there's got to be boreholes, have got to be deepened, new boreholes have got to be drilled to ensure that we actually have the bulk water available. Now, once you've got the water out, then you've still got to get the water to the communities itself. And unfortunately, at this stage, we are forced to make use of water tankering, which is a very expensive way of taking water to communities. But at this stage, it's the only way of us doing it. It's then to ensure that checks and balances are in place, that you do not pay for water that actually does not reach communities. And that's where the check and balance come in. If you put too many checks and balances in, it actually delays the water delivery. But so far, we are confident that the systems we have put in place are working.
So thank you very much for talking to us. That's Mr. Frikkie Brooks, who's a DG in the Premier's office. And they're part of that delegation that'll be hands-on here today, interacting with community and also inspecting some of the interventions that have been put in place. Let's go back to the studio. Leanne is standing by.